Hello everybody, I'm going to give it that few minutes to log on. Major updates today. Of course, things didn't go even close to what I'd hoped for, but we're going to talk about that today. Give it a few minutes to let everybody log on. I have a new internet provider, so this will be my first live under that. So far, people are starting to log on. I'm going to ask those logging on as soon as they come up in the roster. They haven't come yet, but I want to make sure this video is not sketchy, scratchy, or cutting in and out. Hi guys, I see Chris. Is this video coming on here? Is it free flowing and you guys hear me all right? It's not choppy? If any of you... Okay, I got the thumbs up. Okay, so major... Okay, thank you, Chris. It's all good, he says. So I'll let everybody come on. I see more and more coming in. This is, I've wrote notes. I just finished, thanks guys. I just finished, since 6 a.m. all the way here to 11 a.m. I watched 5 hours straight of UNSC live coverage on non-proliferation. And, it's really sad, everybody, for Alberta. We're going to begin there, but it only escalates and gets worse. I don't know how much the media is going to cover, but I'm going to cover all of that for you. So I promise you, this video is absolute. It's real, regardless of what news says. I don't know what they're going to cover, but I can promise you, I watched live as it all happened for 5 straight hours, okay? So everything I'm about to present is 100%, and I can prove that in video later on, but we're going to start with the absolute bad news, everybody. A lot of it's bad news, but there's a positive here because I think Justin Trudeau and Aaron O'Toole are going to have no choice but to abandon a lot of their narratives going forward. Or they're absolutely going to destroy Canada, which maybe that's likely too, but I'm going to give you the goods on that. But let's start with the worst thing that happened today. I'm no longer able to tag Donald Trump anymore. President Trump, officially, he is no longer president. I know this is hard for everybody to hear, but I'm telling you right now, Kelly Knightcraft, which is one of 5 of the most powerful people in the world today, has absolutely stepped aside, and a new UN rep stood in for the Security Council today. Kelly Knightcraft, after tagging Potus yesterday, absolutely did not show up for non-proliferation. Instead, a Joe Biden supporting UN member stood in. So Joe Biden, by all accounts, everybody, I know this is hard to take and everything else, Joe Biden is taking over in the UN. We've already seen that UN rep for USA stand in today. They absolutely condemn what they call a rogue regime, which would be Alberta independence. That's what we are now, a rogue UN regime attempting to take on Canada. So that's terrible news. USA has done a 360. Alberta independence completely put in the rogue regime. We were not presented today only as, by officially USA, a would-be rogue regime. So I'm sure Canada is very, very happy with that. However, Canada gets the ultimate spanking, and it began with Germany's address on behalf of Canada. For Canada, Germany is an outgoing member of the UN Security Council. After 44 years, the UN representative is retiring for one, but they're also getting the boot off the Security Council. This is Germany's officially last day, and they used their time with the Security Council to stand up for Canada. Specifically, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, the 2 journalists, they're detained in China, and they spoke for those 2 and demanding the release and at least change the conditions those 2 are under. Officially, China responds with, they will likely die. They will die before they release them. That was officially announced. I don't know how much of the news coverage you are all going to hear about this, but Canada was absolutely condemned by both China and Russia. So not only was Alberta independence condemned, and I'm sure Canada is very happy about that, but on the flip side, Canada was absolutely condemned. Absolutely. And we're likely going to watch the two Michaels die because of Canada's attempt to have Germany represent them using their last day to try and champion Canada, which was met with harsh condemnation. And China's basically said they're going to kill them. That's likely what's going to happen, okay? So there's Canada's success rate. Then we get into Iran, who is not on the Security Council, not one of the 14, was absolutely given video conference to address the UN Security Council, at which time they state unequivocally that they are going to continue with their nuclear arms and their nuclear proliferation, and there's nothing nobody can do about it, and they don't care. They're not going to do anything. They condemn USA. And the video, well, the presentation I made yesterday going against Iran was absolutely enforced by Iran. And I'm going to tell you all this that Canada or the media is likely not going to tell you. So Iran has been caught by USA and several other Security Council members crafting, trading, and building intercontinental nuclear ballistic missiles. What that means is more than anywhere from Mach 12 to Mach 25, the speed of sound, missiles from up in the atmosphere with the gravitational thrust like we used to slingshot spaceships into outer space. Iran is exploring using that technology so that they can fire nuclear missiles anywhere on this earth between Mach 12 and Mach 25. NORAD is incapable of stopping such weapons of mass destruction that will absolutely kill you. So everybody watching this knows it was Edmonton, Alberta that experienced the great loss of life that Iran had no problem saying they accidentally executed all of those Iranian Canadians from Edmonton, Alberta on that plane. And of course, Ukrainians were also the other major murdered victims of that plane crash, okay? There's other people around the world, but realistically, the bulk was Edmonton, Alberta Canadian citizens. Along with Kovrig and Spaver being arrested, Iran blew up that plane that contained many, many Edmontonians, okay? That's the reality. And now they're building intercontinental nuclear ballistic missiles that nobody is able to stop in the UNSC. And in fact, all sanctions placed on Iran have not done anything remotely even close to the massive embargoes and sanctions placed on Alberta and our resources. In fact, Alberta's oil, along with Alberta and southern Manitoba and any of our gas products, are deeply, deeply under trade embargoes and sanctions that ultimately have a much, much lower price than anything Iran's doing. We're in full compliance of the non-proliferation treaty. We've never went out and hurt anybody in the world or broke any international laws, but we've been absolutely victimized the most out of any region currently right now in the world when it comes to human rights violations, including genocidal or murderous intentions of countries, which Iran has done to absolutely Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, the UN nation of Canada. So today, Canada was totally made an asshole out of on the international stage, and we were condemned. Alberta independence was absolutely condemned by Joe Biden's America going forward. As I said, Kelly Knight Craft did not take to the stage. Another U.S. rep close to Joe Biden did. Donald Trump's nowhere to be found. Kelly Knight Craft nowhere to be found. UK, another representative, not Karen Pierce, which had nothing to do with anything, and absolutely stands with Iran and the rest of the UN Security Council that wishes to give Iran all of this money, which is the equivalent to the entire mining industry of Saskatchewan. The entire mining industry of Saskatchewan. Iran went on further to say that the international law protects them, but it doesn't. Everything they've said is invalid. Official international law gives 5 nations in this world the power to execute anybody in any nation they deem necessary or fit to do. That is UK, France, Russia, China, and USA. They absolutely have full authority to assassinate anybody in this world they deem or seem fit to do. And that is international law. They also have the law of veto. They can veto any international law anytime they want. They can pull out of any agreement that isn't binding of a membership of the UN. Non-proliferation being one of them. As long as a country like China and Russia support Iran, they will continue to do what they're doing. So my whole point here going forward is, if any Canadian official happy with what's happened with Alberta independence, and you can laugh at us and you can we've got Joe Biden to totally condemn you. Well, guess what? You were just condemned on the world stage too. And we are now the target of intercontinental nuclear ballistic missiles should Iran choose to continue on. They're going to kill Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. They're going to do that, and there's nothing you can do about it because they don't respect weak nations. Absolutely, they do not respect Canada. None whatsoever. You have no Security Council member seat. Any nation you had any kind of relationship to present for you is now tossed off the UN Security Council. They're gone. All you have is the USA. And I don't think that they're going to go forward in your name or anybody else's name. You were just a sucker born yesterday. Now, we talk about going forward and what I talked about yesterday. Canada, maybe it's time to look at the fact that we have the largest source of highly enriched uranium in the world. And maybe instead of talking about small nuclear reactors, a joke to power a province, when they're actually designed for shipping. They're for boats, people. This is how dumb they treat us and how stupid they treat us. Canada got rid of... Did you know that the Attorney General of Canada used to be Western Canada, Eastern Canada? That's gone. We used to have our own stock exchange for provinces. Alberta used to have that. It's all based in central Ottawa now, and it's all for all of Eastern Canada. Everything. Western Canada doesn't exist. We are traded. Our coal right now is being mined. Rachel Notley gives you half the story about the new coal contracts that Alberta's not to utilize for any of our power benefits, but we're to transfer them to countries like China, who just condemned us to hell today, Canada. And they're going to exploit even more of our resources, more of carbon-intensive industry right here in Alberta, to be shipped out on train, to go on to boats, to go to China, where they're absolutely not going to be following anything. Neither's Russia. Russia's going to continue its carbon-intensive path forward. It is you, the suckers, the country of Canada, following in UK, which has no even close comparative geographic, international law, power, graphic that matches Canada whatsoever. UK has full power, so does Russia, over building as many nuclear, high-powered, enriched uranium reactors as they want to. And in fact, they can build as many weapons as they want to, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. The idea of 007 and what France has utilized with the French Legion, they have killed world leaders all over the world at any time they've wanted. In fact, France has killed as many presidents, more so than any other country combined, all the countries combined, presidents. They've killed them, assassinated them. They do it anytime they want. USA can, Russia can, UK can, Russia, China, they do it whenever they want, but they haven't. But France has. And UK, that 007 of the fictional story, they can do it too. That's their full legal authority. Canada, you want to go forward, you want to see Michael Kovrig released or Michael Spavor released, you have to rely on yourself. You have to show that you're a country of might and strength. That's the only way forward. This liberalized CPC and Liberal Party themselves, the Liberal Party, the historic conservative Liberal Party of the founding Confederation, is a joke. And it doesn't work in today's world anymore. I'm going to continue with independence. I'm going to continue with my narrative. We have a whole new roster, 5 new members to the Security Council coming in January. And I think what I'm going to do is now, bi-monthly, they update all the meetings of the UNSC. And I'm going to do, just like what Canada does, letter after letter. For every live presentation they do bi-monthly, I'm going to enter all of those. More and more story about Alberta. More and more what we can do. I don't care if Joe Biden's going to, turn around, take over the UNSC. It's likely Kelly Knight Craft is going to be long gone, because if she doesn't accept Joe Biden's narrative, which I don't think she can, I don't think it's in her to be able to go with that narrative on the world stage after all the work she's done. And under a Joe Biden, it's going to be a new narrative. Well, you know what? I know the next 4 years are not going to be for Alberta independence under a dirty Joe Biden. And there's nothing I can do about it. It's just another nation that's going to condemn free people, condemn the First Nations. And First Nations watching here, the freedoms achieved by First Nations were done under Richard Nixon way back, officially by Ford, but that was the vice president of Richard Nixon. While he was crucified, like we're watching Donald Trump get crucified, Richard Nixon ended up eating it, and everybody focused on him in the end being somehow against the Democrats and communism, and what he did was absolutely wrong. It downplays all his tremendous civil rights achievements, including the American Indian, which was never seen in any kind of history. He did something that the First Nations of Canada have not seen and will likely never see under any proposals made by Canada. You've been lied to extremely badly. Canada is not your friend, CPC or Liberal alike. UNDRIP is just another little welfare slice of a $4 a year deal. And there is no $1 trillion bank account for you. There's never going to be. It is absolutely about your genocide. It's about mass immigration. It's about replacing traditional Canadians and absolutely overwhelming First Nations to the point you won't exist anymore. And you will watch your nation change. This is what Liberal and CPC are doing. And if anyone didn't watch today, Canada was absolutely wrote right off. And we're a joke. We're a real joke, as Germany's a joke. They just had a swift kick in the butt on their way out. After 44 years thrown out and literally on their ass and laughed at, ridiculed on behalf of Canada. So if anyone thinks that there is any possibility of Canada getting anything done the way they say they are, think again. You're a mighty, mighty joke. The nation of Canada is a mighty, mighty joke. It is only in strength. It is only in standing up against oppression, and that means really looking at our international policies, or otherwise we're just going to keep getting twisted, turned, and torn apart. And if you think the worst is over, think again. It's only going to get worse, Canadians. Share it out. I just want to give a big shout out to Maxime Bernier. Thank you for your Merry Christmas wish and shout out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That was a nice phone call to get. We're going to keep going forward. And yes, on the federal side, I will do anything that supports a better, stronger Canada. But I am absolutely, if anything, more determined for Alberta independence than ever. And I will continue unemotionally. I won't fall for all the narratives that are presented, even if America becomes ugly to my agenda and the things I champion for true and free Alberta, prosperous Alberta. I can survive the next 4 years. I can continue forward, and I can keep hitting that Security Council. And maybe now it's going to have to be bi-monthly. I'm going to have to be even more focused on that. And I'm going to try and build a 5-member team of very, very smart Albertans. I'm going to be reaching out to all of you to get that underway. I think there's a couple ladies who know who I'm talking about here, and it will require courage and conviction. And maybe it is a little bit scary, but I don't know about that, because if Iran can get away with what they're doing, man, grow a pair, everybody. Saskatchewan, Scott Moe, Jason Kenney, Alberta, and Northwest Territories. I know it's a territory, but I think it's time to start looking at historic reality. It's time to take out a page out of a premier's book, none other than William Aberhart. And it's time to start looking at what we got to do out here west. And if we can't, at least Albertans, Saskatchewanians, and Northwest Territorians, it's time to change the narrative. It's time to get people in place who will promise these things, who will challenge the system and get things done. Because if you think Justin Trudeau or Aaron O'Toole are going to get it done, you're only going to become a poorer and poorer, more oppressed people on this earth. And Canada is heading straight to third world status. Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, you're a damn joke on the world stage today. You were made complete assholes, and your buddies in Germany got thrown out on their ass, and the door hit them hard and violently on the way out. Merry Christmas. That's reality. Don't lose hope, everybody. I'm not. This has only strengthened my resolve. And yes, I see that Donald Trump's gone. And yes, I see Kelly Knight Craft is likely to be gone in the new year. Absolutely post January 20th. But we're going to cross those bridges as they come. And a dictator, Joe Biden, with a crazy radical Democrat Party, is going to be absolutely aggressive and mean with an Alberta Independence Party. They want to call us a rogue regime or a WIPA or anybody else who will put that narrative. Be prepared for it, everybody. But it's only because they want to see the exploitation of your resources for them, as does China as well too, and other nations. We just have to find new allies going forward, at least for the next 4 years. Is it a devastating blow? Yes, it is. But it only strengthens my resolve to continue to hit the General Assembly, continue to hit all the UNSC members going forward, including the sitting ones. Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday. I'm going to take this time to enjoy my family. This will likely be my final post until the new year. Have a great, wonderful holiday. And think, look, and really, if the media's not covering this stuff, you heard it here, get it shared out. It's absolutely viewable. It will be viewable here in the next coming hours. And if not by tomorrow, and I will post that for all of you as historically, if you wish to sit through the 5 hours. But you will hear exactly what I'm telling you today is exactly what transpired today. Bye now.